The film begins by showing two men from an indigenous tribe living in a tropical rainforest who are hunting when they are startled by the appearance of an anaconda snake attempting to attack them. They try to run away from the large snake, but one of them falls into a waterfall where another giant snake is waiting for its prey. The indigenous man ultimately dies after being eaten by the snake. Switching to New York, USA, researcher Dr. Jack Byron and his colleague Gordon Mitchell are having a meeting with the executive of the New York pharmaceutical firm Wexel Hall to seek funding for their upcoming research. During the meeting, Jack and Gordon explain that they need the blood orchid flower to create a drug that can cure various diseases. Due to the large quantity of flowers needed and the fact that they only bloom for 2 weeks, they request that the pharmaceutical company approve the expedition of the research team to Borneo, the only habitat of the blood orchid. With the promising prospects of the project, the pharmaceutical company eventually approves the departure of Jack and Gordon to Borneo. Without wasting any time, they all set off for Padrang Province, Borneo. Upon arriving on the island, they are disappointed to find that the boat they had previously rented did not arrive, because the boat owner stated that traveling to the forest via the river would be quite risky due to the rainy season. With no other choice, Jack and the others try to find another boat owner willing to rent their boat. After a while, the research team approaches a man named Tran Wu, who is willing to rent his boat for a reasonable fee. After hearing the price offer from Jack and the team, Tran takes them to meet the boat's owner and captain, Bill Johnson. Since Jack and the others cannot operate the boat, Bill agrees to take them all for an additional fee. Although the rental price is quite high, Jack and the team are forced to accept his offer given their limited time in Borneo. The next morning, Bill and Tran, who joins as crew members, start preparations before departure. Jack also introduces Cole Burris and Dr. Ben Douglas as additional members who will join the expedition. So the journey to the Blood Orchid area finally begins, and that evening Bill prepares dinner on the boat for Jack and the team. During the meal, Kong attempts to take some fruit meant for the team, so Bill promptly tells Kong to leave. Hungry, Kong sees mangoes on the riverbank, climbs a tree to pick the fruit, but ends up getting left behind by the boat. Kong then runs along the riverbank, trying to catch up with Bill's boat. At the same time, an anaconda snake chases Kong, who hides in a large tree trunk. Unfortunately, the anaconda finds Kong and forces the monkey to run back up the tree with the anaconda still pursuing him, causing Kong to scream loudly. On the boat, everyone is startled by the screaming, but does not realize it is Kong's cry. The next morning, Bill realizes that Kong is missing from the boat. Meanwhile, Gail is seen busy making a phone call, not realizing she is leaning against the boat's door, causing her to fall into the river. Everyone laughs at Gail's clumsiness, which makes Gail upset as she swims back to the boat. Shortly after, a crocodile suddenly appears and tries to attack her, prompting Bill to jump into the river and fight the crocodile with a knife. Despite being worried when Bill disappears from the surface, he eventually defeats the crocodile and survives. Bill is helped back onto the boat, while the dead crocodile's body is seen being dragged underwater by something. The journey resumes until Kong causes everyone to panic by suddenly appearing from the top of the boat. Bill, relieved to see Kong safe. As night falls, heavy rain starts to pour, and Bill realizes that the river water level has risen. Bill then informs Jack that their journey will be very dangerous, but Jack insists on continuing. The next morning, Tran notices that the river is filled with tree branches due to the heavy rain from the night before, causing the boat's steering to get stuck. In a hurry, Tran and Bill try to maneuver the jammed steering to find a safe navigation route. As the steering is hard to move, they miss a turn, and the boat heads toward a waterfall. Everyone, realizing this, quickly braces themselves by holding on to the boat to avoid being thrown off. Because of the incident, Bill's boat is destroyed, but fortunately, everyone survives and helps each other to the shore, unaware that an anaconda is swimming around them. Jack and his team quickly gather some of their salvaged belongings. Cole, finding a satellite phone, is relieved that it still works. Bill then explains to everyone that his friend John Livingston will be sailing around their location. Therefore, Bill plans to ask John for help to pick them up at Nugger Rock. To reach the pickup location, Jack says they need to travel along the river for 2 days, but they can expedite the journey if they cut through the jungle. Everyone agrees to take the jungle route, so they can meet John's boat sooner and continue their search for the blood orchid. Bill then borrows the satellite phone to contact John and request assistance. During the conversation, John demands a high fee, which upsets Bill. However, Bill has no choice but to agree to his terms. Soon after, Bill begins guiding Jack and the others across the river, and strangely, Kong on a tree branch keeps screaming, which makes everyone uneasy. Unbeknownst to them, an anaconda is seen swimming and passing among them. Ben, who is walking at the back, tries to scare Gale until something pulls him into the water. Gale and the others start to panic as Ben resurfaces, covered in wounds. Before Ben can say anything, an anaconda appears and devours him, causing everyone to rush to the shore to avoid becoming victims of the giant snake. Upon reaching the shore, they resume their journey through the jungle until Gordon notices something on Cole's neck. Cole, feeling something clinging to the back of his neck, begins to panic, prompting Bill to calm him down and explain that it is just a leech. Upon inspection, Cole's back is also covered in leeches. As Gordon is about to put his shoes back on, Tran stops him because he sees a stone spider on his shoe. Tran explains that if they are bitten by a stone spider, their bodies will be paralyzed for 2 days. Hearing this, Jack becomes interested in studying it and quickly puts the spider into a jar. Switching to John, who is navigating his boat towards Nugger Rock, John is startled by a jolt in his boat after hitting something. John then inspects and sees an anaconda around his boat, so he intends to grab his weapon. Unfortunately, the anaconda has already boarded the boat and drags him into the water. As a result, the boat's throttle is accidentally engaged, causing the boat to start moving on its own. Not far from John's boat location, Bill and the others who are nearing Nugger Rock are shocked by an explosion in the river. They rush to check the river and find John's boat has exploded after hitting river rocks. As a result, their hope of returning home becomes even slimmer. But Bill asks everyone to collect all useful items from John's boat for their journey. At that moment, they find grilled fish bones that appear to have been recently eaten by someone. Seeing this, Tran informs them that in the jungle, there is an indigenous tribe called the Lopek, known as hunters. Tran then suggests they go to the Lopek village, hoping that the indigenous people will be willing to lend them a boat. With no better ideas, everyone agrees to head towards the Lopek tribe settlement. Bill, leading the way, tries to clear a path by cutting through some vegetation with his machete until he is startled by John's lifeless body lying on the path. At that moment, Bill realizes that John was killed by an anaconda, and typically anacondas will regurgitate their prey if they feel threatened. In the increasingly dangerous situation, they all need to find the Lopek settlement quickly and borrow a boat to return home. After walking for some time, they arrive at the Lopek village, which has been abandoned by its inhabitants. Seeing the dead anaconda that had eaten one of the tribe members, Bill and the others suspect that the Lopek tribe left after fighting the anaconda. Since the Lopek boats are also gone, Bill, noticing some bamboo in the river, suggests that they build a raft. That night, Jack washes his face in one of the houses and sees an engraving of the Blood Orchid, which makes him realize that anacondas can grow into very large snakes by consuming the orchid. Jack then approaches Sam and the others, asking them to continue the expedition to find the flower, but all of his companions refuse, including Gordon. Meanwhile, Bill and Tran have completed the raft they will use to return. As the night progresses, Gordon accidentally finds John's body containing a gun and a satellite phone in Jack's bag. At the same time, Jack arrives, and Gordon expresses his frustration to him for deliberately hiding the weapon and communication devices to keep them in the jungle. Jack then tries to persuade Gordon to continue the expedition, but Gordon remains steadfast in his decision to return home. Hearing this, Jack becomes angry and releases the stone spider he had kept, which then bites Gordon. As a result, Gordon starts to experience paralysis while Jack joins the others outside. When Sam inquires about Gordon, Jack tells her that he is resting. Sensing something is wrong, Sam finds Gordon, who is now sitting and unable to move his entire body. Although Sam notices the bite marks on Gordon's leg, she does not understand what is happening to her colleague. At the same time, an anaconda appears above Sam, but Gordon, seeing it, is unable to warn her due to his paralysis. Sam then leaves Gordon to ask Jack about what he has done to Gordon. Unfortunately, Jack lies, saying that he hasn't done anything to him. In the midst of their conversation, the anaconda on the ceiling of the building devours Gordon, causing everyone to panic. Quickly, Bill sets the place on fire and runs with the others to the raft he had built. Unexpectedly, the raft has been taken away by Jack, who wants to go in search of the Blood Orchid. Sam and the others then plan to chase Jack through the jungle, because only with a raft can they all escape the jungle. At the same time, Jack uses his satellite phone to call for help, but claims that only he survived the ongoing expedition. Returning to Bill's group, who continue their land journey after hearing the hissing of an anaconda nearby. They end up falling into a cave where Cole gets separated from the others and discovers many human skeletons inside the cave. Fortunately, Tran finds Cole and decides to look for Bill and the others. Tran and Cole pass through a pool of water in the cave when Tran is suddenly pulled into the water by an anaconda. Despite Cole's efforts to save him, Tran is ultimately killed by the anaconda. Meanwhile, Bill, along with Sam and Gale, searches for Tran and Cole. Unfortunately, Bill only finds Tran's flashlight floating in blood-filled water. Assuming that Tran and Cole are not safe, Bill leads Sam and Gale to exit the cave through a hole. At the same time, Cole suddenly appears, screaming in fear as an anaconda chases him. Without hesitation, they all try to escape the cave as quickly as possible. One by one, they manage to get out, and when Cole finally exits, an anaconda prepares to attack him until Sam decapitates the anaconda with Bill's machete. Cole is amazed by what Sam has just done, not realizing that another anaconda arrives and pulls him away. Without hesitation, Bill and the others follow Cole, who is being carried up a tree. Bill then throws a knife at the lower part of the anaconda's head that is constricting Cole, killing the anaconda and allowing Cole to be rescued after receiving artificial respiration. Meanwhile, Jack manages to find the Blood Orchid while Bill and the others reach the place where Jack left the raft. At that moment, Sam finds an empty stone spider bottle and realizes that Jack was the one who deliberately paralyzed Gordon using the spider. Soon after, Jack arrives, brandishing a gun at Sam and the others, and demands that she retrieve the Blood Orchid growing above the muddy hole where the anacondas mate. Jack also shoots at Bill, who is trying to get a knife to fight back. Upon arriving at the Blood Orchid location, Jack knocks Bill unconscious and orders Sam to collect the flower from a fragile tree branch. When Sam has gathered enough flowers and is about to return, the branch she is standing on nearly breaks. Jack sees this and demands that Sam throw the bag with the Blood Orchid. After successfully obtaining the bag of blood orchids, Jack attempts to escape but is thwarted by Bill, who has regained consciousness and hits him until the bag nearly falls into the hole. As Jack retrieves his bag and tries to climb out of the hole, his hand is bitten by a stone spider, causing him to become paralyzed and fall into the midst of the anacondas. Sam also falls into the hole but manages to climb to safety while screaming hysterically as she watches Jack being devoured by the anacondas. With the help of Bill and the others, Sam finally escapes, though an anaconda follows her. Gale, seeing this, throws a can of fuel, followed by Cole firing a flare into the snake's mouth, causing it to fall into the hole and explode, killing all the anacondas in the area. Additionally, the explosion buries the anacondas along with the Blood Orchid. At the end of the film, Bill, Sam, Gale, Cole, and Kong are shown safely paddling their raft towards Kotabaru. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.